You wanted to introduce me?
Yes, I have a formal introduction. I want to get that on record right now. Laurie-Ann is an award-winning speaker, business strategist, and public speaking coach who helps experts like us speak with confidence, land more opportunities, and grow our visibility. She's the powerhouse behind speakandstandout.com, and she's passionate about helping podcasters like you use the stage to amplify your message and your brand. And today, she's going to show us how public speaking can be a game changer for growing our podcast and attracting new listeners.
Thank you. Okay, so first off, speaking is a huge topic, and that's why I posted on the Facebook group. And just know that I only have 20 minutes to teach you everything that I know, which is impossible. So first off, I want you to know that what I'm about to do, because I'm an expert in helping people like you showcase your business so that you can get more opportunities, get more leads, get more business, get positioned as the expert. What I'm going to do today is become the college professor. There are 4 types of speakers, and my goal is always to get my clients to become the marketer speaker. But I'm going to step into the college professor because I'm going to give you a lot of information. This is to serve you because we're all here in this New England club. So first I'm going to give you some stats. There are 20,000. Okay. We're going to give a round of applause to Sarah.
And I pushed a button and I can't get your slides back. I had one job.
You take your time. I will give what's going on actually. So when you are a speaker, your job is to make the host, which is this place, and also Andy look like a rock star. But in this particular setting, there's no way for me to advance the slides. Sarah and I had a conversation beforehand, and she knows exactly what I'm going to say before the next slide is to come up. Last month, you probably heard somebody say, Ryan, next slide, please. Right. Ryan, could you go back? So Sarah is helping me out with that.
Sarah!
So there are 20,000 daily speaking opportunities around the globe. And here in the U.S., that number is 7,500. This number comes from MPI, Meeting Planners International. So speaking here, this isn't one of those numbers. Speaking on a podcast, that's not one of those numbers either. I believe in the past few years that speaking needs to be redefined and stages needs to be redefined as well. So we are about, and there are also 250,000, count that, 250,000 professional trade and associations here in the U.S. You know, if you ever go to the fair or the circus, and there's that person that blows up those long, skinny balloons, and then he twists and he turns them into a cute little animal and hands it to a little kid who gets so excited, there's an association for that. There is literally an association for everything. So I encourage you to find your associations that have your people. Now, we probably could all vote unanimously that we are about to go into a very interesting economy. In my 25 years as being a professional speaker, I have gone through 2 conference recessions. And those conference recessions impact speakers. Those 250,000 associations, their job is to have meetings. My specialty, helping people showcase, you speak for no fee. You don't speak for free, because there's a difference. You speak for no fee, knowing that on the back end of your speech is where you're going to make a boatload of money. Those meeting planners need to have meetings and need speakers. You are all in an ideal situation right now to be getting out there, sharing your message, and getting in front of the right people. So let's use your podcast to get on more stages. Why would you mention your podcast during your presentation? One is for new listeners. New listeners equals more downloads. You're going to build those relationships. Now, you all should be pulling out your phones and digging up my podcast, because I'm going to give you 7 episodes that you must listen to today. You're going to build deeper relationships with people. You know, like I have 20 minutes in front of you. If you're speaking for 45, 50 minutes, that's all the time that you have in front of somebody. So for them to take that next step and come into your world and listen to your podcast and your call to action, it's the perfect CTA. So when we go into this conference recession, meeting planners will say you can't promote. You can't promote your product or your services. And there's a reason for that. It's because they've gotten burned before. Somebody that they hired and booked to speak showed up and gave a 45-minute infomercial, and we are all still paying the price for that. The way around that, give away something free like your podcast. You're going to be in their ears, giving them very specific episodes to listen to. I'm going to walk my talk here today so that you can just say, hey, if you want to learn more about this, like I specifically have a specific episode about how to use your stages and how it needs to be redefined. You're going to go listen to episode 306, which comes out on Monday, by the way. This one was just recorded. So everywhere that you see my little podcast graphic is an episode that I'm suggesting that you listen to. Yes. Thank you. So let's use your podcast to get on more stages. Here are several ways that you can do this. 1, you need to have a speaker page on your website. I do these things called speaker breakthrough sessions, which they're live coaching. People that they're not my clients, but I coach them as if they are my private clients. And the number one question that I will ask them is, do you have a page on your website that says that you're a speaker? No. Not yet. And I'm like, but you want to be a speaker. If I'm a meeting planner and I heard about you, Amy, and I come to your website and I'm digging through your website and it's just like, she's not a speaker. She's not serious about this. I'm going to walk away. But I'm going to go over here to Julie's website and she's got a whole page. And on that page, how many speeches are there? 3. And only 3. And you're like, huh? The human brain loves 3. As a matter of fact, I have 2 podcast episodes that you should go listen to that it's about the psychology of choice, 246 and 242. But I'll give you the synopsis. Emily, if you only have 1 episode, 1 speech that you have on your website, I'm going to come and be like, doesn't feel right. So it's either that or nothing. If she has 2, well, I don't like that one, so I have to have that one. And I still, as a human being, I still don't feel like I have any choice. But if you have 3, suddenly the buyer feels empowered. And they have 3 different things to look at and choose from. So that's one thing that you've got to have. And make sure you put speaker in your bio, please. That's the other thing I'm always coaching people on. Interview people. Interview meeting planners. Like I could have Andy come onto my podcast and I could ask her some questions. I would recommend that this kind of an episode, wait till you have like 3 or 4 people that you've spoken for, and that way they're not 30 minutes where I'm interviewing Andy for 30 minutes and I only spoke for 20. We don't need to have that long of a discussion. Another thing to consider is behind the scenes. And I did this on episode 173. I literally took my audience from the very first meeting with a large insurance corporation where they were deciding on who to bring in for a speaker. So I talked about it from that point to the pre-event meeting, to the actual meeting, to the follow-up, and then the additional follow-up because they had to refer me. So there's lots of different steps that goes into being a speaker. And so what does that do if you have those behind the scenes? If I'm a meeting planner, because you can put this episode on your website, on your speaker page. If I'm a meeting planner, I'm going to go listen to that. And now I know, if I want to work with Laurie-Ann, there's going to be at least 2 meetings beforehand. She's going to show up, and this is how she shows up during the event. And then here's what she's going to expect afterwards. So Andy, she doesn't know this yet because I actually didn't do this, but Andy's going to give me a testimonial. And then she's also going to give me a couple of referrals. That's an exchange for, that's why you never speak for free. You speak for no fee, which is there's always an exchange of value. Now, that doesn't mean that people don't have budgets. That's a whole different topic. Okay. More about using your part 2, using your podcast to get onto more stages. Invite your hosts onto the show, like I just mentioned. Talk about the events that you're speaking at. The beginning of your podcast, hey, I'm going to be going to the XYZ conference. This is what I'm going to be speaking about. Just keep your audience updated. If I'm in your audience, I'm like, I may be a meeting planner. I might become somebody who becomes a volunteer on a committee that's putting a conference together. And I keep hearing this. And I'm going to be like, oh, let's call Amy. Let's reach out to Amy. Let's see if we can get her to come in and speak at this event. So never underestimate the power of your podcast and keep using it. There's this lovely exchange about constantly like sharing great information and just reminding people, I'm a speaker. This is what it's like to work with me, and this is all that you have to do. Here's the link to book a call so that we can talk about your next event so that you have a great speaker. And episode 153 is about what's it like to work with me, both as a speaker, but also as a coach. And that's this episode I would recommend that you update and you record yearly because your offerings are going to change. Which is kind of why in the beginning I kind of like set the tone that I want you to understand I'm stepping into the college professor. Because a few people here have reached out to me about wanting to work with me. And I didn't want them to imitate what I'm doing here today and think, oh, that's easy. I can do that. This is not showcasing. This is just college professor. Whoops. And the next one, I just want to give you an example of what to do on your website. So this is a specific episode about this particular speech. Make episodes about your talks. Who's it for? What are the results that the audience is going to get from those? So you can go to my website and you'll see me actually do this. So it's speakandstandout.com/speaker. And keep using your podcast in unique ways that keeps promoting you as a speaker. So here's a few extra tips because you're probably going to need to plan because I'm sure that you don't have all of these episodes. So plan them out and start recording them. Make them bingeable. All of these episodes that you are sharing from the stage, make them like 12 to 18 minutes. Some of the feedback that I get about my podcast, or I'll call it a warning. People have said it's very bingeable. And that's very intentional. So it's intentional because if after this event, a lot of you start to go and listen to several of my episodes on your drive home, what does that tell Spotify and Apple and Overcast and all the other platforms? Something's going on with this podcast being in demand. It will go up in the ranks. So again, thinking about your content very strategically. So make it bingeable. Episode 228 is how to really specifically use your podcast and the stage combined. Last summer, during the summer times, I do very focused, like the entire month has a theme. And so during that month, which was July, was all about podcasting. And so this was one of those episodes. And August, all of last August, is really how to use the stage and sell from the stage in a way that doesn't feel sleazy or salesy, or the meeting planner says, I told you not to promote yourself. There are things that you can do and say, and I've done it to you today. So 232 is all about exactly what to say for more leads, more opportunities, more clients. And I actually have a lovely lead magnet that goes with that. Yeah. So this is, so everybody at home, you want to just take a screenshot of this. But this is the slide that you probably want to take a picture of. This is all 7 episodes that I have mentioned to you today that were sprinkled throughout this presentation. I'll give you a moment if anyone wants to snap that. And we can put it back up afterwards. You're not in the ideal situation to take a picture.
And we'll have this on the website as a slide deck.
We can, yeah. Okay, so here's one last thing. You can go to speakandstandout.com/guide. This is my 10 most popular downloaded episodes. And the 7 that I just gave you today, only 2 of them are on that list. And this also has a list of all my other resources for people and different ways that you can show up. Like you can book your own speaker breakthrough session. You can join my speaker circles, which is a monthly training that I do. And the bottom link is to my newsletter. And my newsletter is not just a, hey, how are you? It's like I go deep into different topics. Like the past couple of weeks was about your pre-event process and your post-event process. I am making my newsletters. It's a newsletter, not an email. So there you have it. In my in-demand signature speech methodology has 7 blocks. I only gave you 3 today. Again, I was a college professor, but I am an open book when it comes to speaking. And so any questions, go right ahead.
What was that word? Binge school? You were talking about
Bingeable.
binge.
So like that means like
Binging,
a Netflix.
you mean like a binge?
Yeah, like a binge.
Bingeable.
It's very bingeable.
This is just out of curiosity, but you said there were 4 types of speakers. What were the others?
So you want to be the marketer. So there's the college professor, there's the person who's very inspiring, like, oh, here's my beautiful story, but there's really no call to action and there's no application to the actual audience. And then there's the person who, it's just too fluffy. Like there's no format. So they're kind of all over the place. But most people fall into the college professor. And they give too much information and they just water hose basically the audience, and then they walk away not knowing, I don't know what to do first. Anybody else?
Laurie, can you talk about, I'm trying to project my voice up to day or 2 as well, but okay. Can you talk a little bit about how we're already speaking as podcast hosts, and how can we get rid of any mindset challenges that think, oh, I'm fine right here in my closet at home. But now people are staring at me while I use my words and I don't remember my words. Oh, am I talking about my own experience? Yes. Can you talk about how we can translate that?
Well, speaking needs to be redefined. Stages needs to be redefined. On Monday, on episode 306, I have 30 different stages that I talk about. Well, actually,
April 14th, everyone.
if you do grab that guide and it takes you to the 17 magical phrases, that's what I did. All I've been doing is like talking about like on episode 306, like this is what I like dive into. My private clients, like you would weave in these different things, and all of that is okay from a meeting planner that's in charge of an association. Because I'm not saying go, you should hire me as your next coach. I'm just saying, here's a better way to put it. The way that I like my clients, this is when I work with them, when you speak, I want your audience to be like, oh, she's got another speech. Oh, she's not just this speaker that's like for free. Oh, she's got this program. Oh, she does this. I want your audience knowing all the different ways that they can work with you without it being just like, you're not sticking in their face, so to speak. You're just kind of like sprinkling and teasing them.
But they use the podcast as a resource for
Yeah.
to go to.
Yes. It's like you're speaking.
It's not an overt promotion.
Right, you're
But it's
speaking.
a tool for them.
They go to the podcast, they learn more. You're promoting something on the back end, like go to my website, book a call, etc. There's this lovely domino.
Would you agree that there would be the kind of person doing podcast that isn't a good speaker and isn't able to stand up in front of a crowd, but does it well by himself or herself?
Chances are they're not going to hire me because they don't want to get in front of an audience.
All of us aren't necessarily.
And not everybody's my people.
That's right.
So if you don't have a formal speech yet,
Yet.
or you've done some speaking and certain podcasting, so to get started, what would you put on that website?
You just get started. So, episode 197 is about the 7 essentials that you need to have on your website. And if you get the guide, it actually refers to that. And I know it sounds funny that I keep promoting another episode, but I've done all these episodes. There are 7 things that are on that webpage that you need to have. And I specifically do address that if you're just getting started. Like I want the person I don't want somebody to be like yourself, like, I don't have a speech, so I'm not going to do this. But if you don't do it, then a meeting planner comes to your website and they're like, he doesn't look like a speaker. It doesn't even say speaker in his bio. Why would my friend tell me to go to his website? So then they leave. Whereas if you start with what you have, and I would be very happy to take a picture of you up here with this microphone so you have a picture for that webpage. I'll do that for any of you. We'll do exactly what we did last month when we had, yes, I loved that picture. I made the best of this particular, setup. Yes.
Curious, when you were a professor,
The college professor today?
you were a professor of.
Oh, no, that's
No, I'm not a professor.
Oh, I thought.
No, I did not.
Style.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Yeah, there's no test. Thank you.
Well, I think there was to clarify your question, though, is that speakers often get up and they have an agenda. They've got a whole thing they're mapping out. Today, she's teaching us all the ways to enhance our podcast and bring in business.
I wrote down the 4 different ways, but
I just giving you information like a college professor.
Okay.
When I speak at associations and meetings and conferences, I'm going to showcase my business. There's a very different format of my speech that I give.
And follow Laurie-Ann on Instagram because she does one reel after another and shorts and stories and things like that really drive me.
Join my newsletter. Amy.
So this is more of a testimonial to LA because
This is why I invite her, by the way.
my turn. So I was speaking for many years before I met LA, but I connected with her years ago. She helped me write my book, get it out there, do all these things. But when I was in her program, it was Speak on Demand.
Yeah, it's now in-demand signature speech. Yes.
It was brilliant. The reason why I went into that class is not because I hadn't had experience and I had different things. I knew what she could deliver, which was a structure around the topics that I had. I was looking for that structure that I just was missing in that season of my speaking. So I would highly recommend a series of these. Because what that did is it's bringing it into the present day with even my podcast that I'm now ready to do, with you even bringing in some of that format, which is helping me with my episodes. So anyway, it's really great if you love the idea of preparation and having, because even in improvisation there's structure. So just remember, never wing it. But Laurie-Ann's a great guide.
Thank you. A wonderful testimony.
And I'll share with you all what the in-demand signature speech methodology is. It's an attention-grabbing opening. It's your authority section, followed by, in an hours-long speech, 3 different value points, a call to action, and then a beautiful way to tie up your presentation in a beautiful bow. And it all just kind of flows right together. And it's based on science of your audience, because your audience, when you have your opening, you have to get them to put their phones down so that they lean in to the conversation. And then you go into your authority section because your audience leans back, folds their arms, and says, "Why should I listen to you?" And so that's what that is, so that you get them to lean back in, give really good value along with points and data. You become a lawyer when you are putting your speech together.
Amy or Vinny, any questions? No. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure.
Are you guys speechless?
So I have a question very selfishly. I have a one sheet that's 3 pages. What should I take out of the one?
A lot.
3. It's 4 pages.
4 pages. Okay, just to use Emily's answer, what to get rid of? 3 pages.
So again,
It can be 2. It could be, well, you actually could have a 1 sheet per presentation. You know, I've seen a lot of speakers do that. Like, Amy, you have a book, you could have like a 1 sheet that's specific for the book. And here's the talk that I give with this book. It goes in conjunction.
Ellen, that format that you were just describing, do you find that works for all different audiences, or do you tweak and tailor depending on who is your audience?
Yes, it gets tweaked and tailored. However, you want to craft a signature speech, because the more that you deliver that speech, you get really good at delivering that speech. And then I teach you how to insert little things so that the audience is sitting there thinking, she wrote this just for us. Yeah. Yes, just like a good comedian.
yeah, it's the nuances that you really teach people that maybe they didn't have before. It's what you just said. It's those little nuances. If you don't have that, it can be very stale, and the audience doesn't feel like you're talking to them.
Yeah.
So it's having somebody honest.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you seen a speaker say, "Who here has," you don't want to do that. You want to say, "Do you? Do you feel like," yeah, like it lands like, even though I'm speaking to everybody, you feel like she's talking just to me. So that when you ask questions, are you ready to start speaking? Are you ready to speak and stand out? Raise your hand. You got people who are raising their hand instead of so who here is ready to speak and stand out? Even if I use the same tone, when it's everybody, like people look, well, I don't know. It doesn't feel personal. And your job is to connect.
You're not being asked the question. Everyone's being asked the question.
Right.
So you can put somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a hard time with that. In our podcast, in our intro, we do the intro together. And I was always going, "Welcome back, everybody."
Yeah, just one person.
I'd stop it.
Wow, good point. So instead of saying "Welcome back, listeners,"
Welcome back, my friend.
nice.
I
That's a
still,
gem.
welcome back, or welcome. And so,
Yeah.
Changing my script.
It's little things. It's the little things.
One more thing, kind of going back to if things are shifting and there may or may not be as many big conferences. We were talking about the meeting planners, or what about that area where the stage is online and you're not necessarily out in a convention hall or an office or something, but the online presence for speaking also. Is that something you want to talk to people about?
It's huge. But all of those, when I was talking about those associations, so look at the associations as let's just say I run an association. Andy here is a member. She's paying money to belong to the association. My job is to put the right speakers in front, to have education so that she stays on top of new trends that are happening. So whether we do that by virtual or in-person meetings, because a lot of these associations, I mean, maybe they have contracts with hotels and they just like every month, this is where our meeting is. But I think we're going to start to see a lot of marketing budgets are going to be cut. And so that's why I'm saying, like, get in front of these associations. Find the right associations that have your people. So that 7,500, just divide that by 50. That's 150 opportunities every single day. And I live close enough to the Massachusetts border that I'm like, I got 300. And if I want to drive 90 minutes, that means I got 450 opportunities every single day with 3 states.
Yeah. So as far as finding those associations, I joined a group called Innovation Women, that for speakers. Yes. And I did that because it's a place that, amalgamates, it brings together all these possibilities for speaking and groups, etc. But so are you suggesting to do that it's a combination of finding something like that and or doing it on your own to find these?
Yeah, you don't need to join an association or a group that's going to put events in front of you. So 2 weeks ago in my email, I talked about, notice what I'm doing, folks, your post-event process. There has to be a process. So I shared mine that I'm going to ask Andy. One, she's going to give me a video testimonial, and she's going to refer me someplace. So speaking literally can snowball. If she refers me to 2 other places that I can possibly speak, and let's say I speak at those 2, and when I speak at those 2, I'm going to ask those 2 to also give me 2 referrals. So now those turn into kind of like the Prel commercial, and then so on and so on. It snowballs very fast. But it's about having your post-event process, because the speaking business is a relationship business. So when I go to a conference that I'm not speaking at, I am meeting the meeting planners, the people who organize that. I am meeting other speakers. I am building strategic relationships with others.
Yeah.
And there's a podcast episode on that too.
Sure.
Has everyone been tracking all the CTAs? Calls to action? I mean, my God, we gotta be
No, there's only one CTA. It's like, go listen to the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, but specifically. Oh my gosh, this has been so helpful. Any other questions here?
I have another question. May make it a 2-parter. Kind of similar to what you were asking. I belonged, and I didn't renew this year for Women Innovation because I know that I can find a lot of those on my own. And I do have a speaker friend of mine that I took a training gave me over 1,000 meeting organizers. What is the protocol for cold emailing? And because I have templates, but I don't know if that's even successful. And should I join NSA? And is that helpful?
NSA is about the business behind speaking. So I would say, like, if you're new, like, you just stay away from the summer conference because it is so overwhelming. I believe in having the email that you send out to meeting planners is an open the door to the conversation. So it's not, hey, you should book me to speak at your next meeting or conference. It's, hey, I see that you have a meeting that you have every fall. What's the process for finding and booking speakers? All you're doing is asking for information. And when you ask for that information, people will tell you. You're not saying book me. You're just like, I just want to know what your process is, because not everybody has the same process. It's kind of like being on somebody's podcast. It's like, you're like, hey, you should book me on your podcast. Well, she might, like, I never have guests, for example. I don't even know. But, like, so it's just doing a little bit of homework. But if you know that they have a conference coming up in the fall, that sets you apart. Does that help? A question, or you're promoting me again?
So on my website, when I put up my podcast, if said it to you because my strategy was to put an invitation to people who are looking to be on podcasts, and then I have 3 specific topics for them to choose from, and then I show them my frameworks, and I know exactly what they're going to do, and then they call me, and then we have a conversation.
So you're almost doing like what I do, like live coaching calls.
I learned it sort of from you, and I did it in my last podcast, and people really appreciated knowing the structure ahead of time. We stayed on course. It was but that's how I built the page. So do you think that's a good, to show?
Let me look at it though, so that we do it very strategically.
And I have a selfish question because I love interviewing people, and I get tired of watching people do interviews on the stage. I don't think they're good enough, and I think I could do much better. But how do you book that?
What do you mean?
I mean, you know how you say you have. Pardon me?
Like interviewing panelists?
Or being the or the facilitator, of course, MC I'd like too. But I'll see. Now we can talk about a luminary. So let's say at Inbound, one of their big featured speakers. They've got some journalists who ask them questions, and we're just all watching. Right? They're never including us in that conversation, and they're obviously interviewing Obama or whomever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be that person on the stage interviewing that person because I think I could make it more fun and inclusive. Would it be the same thing? What is your process?
Yeah. And if you know somebody who has spoken at an event, I love this. Like I will get emails from people saying, how did my friend get to this? Like they're speaking at this event and they're asking me. I'm like, go ask your friend. Right. Like a warm invite. So if you know somebody who has done something like that.
Or someone who's hired someone to interview the luminary they're having. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And
I don't want to, I actually, maybe I'll work through it. I don't know. I've been outside my comfort zone my whole life. I don't know if I want to go even further out again to be on the stage. But,
sounds like you do.
But I do like the idea of interviewing. I don't want to be the one who's out there doing what you're doing, which is you do it so well. And I know you're going to be great. Anybody who's going to be working with you is mwah. But I do like that interview part, or MC, because, as interviewers, we have nailed that down.
MC is a talent.
Yes, it is a talent.
Yes,
I would take a course on how to do that. How much I like it. Any other questions for our phenomenal speaker? Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. That was wonderful. This will be up on the website within the week. You'll be able to watch the video, and hopefully we'll get a few slides from LA to put up on the website as well.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
So that we can refer to it as we move forward. And I will even transcribe it because that's how valuable this session was. So we'll make sure that, we got all the episodes. And yes, you did a wonderful curated slide at the end, but still, it's always nice to hear those little gems along the way. So thank you, LA!
So who needs a photo for their website?
All right.
Here we go.
Mask goes off.
And we have to do it while we're all here, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's so.
Mask comes off. Prepare yourself.